said that they get the bacteria that they need to digest their food from those moths in the wild, but they get the first bacteria the same way as a wild sloth. Around day 3 of that baby sloth's life, that baby will climb onto the chest of the mother and lick her in the corners of her mouth, because when she's eating, her food will mix with the saliva, and the baby's kind of around day 3 is being interested in what mom's actually doing. And then when they lick that up, the bacteria that mom already has established in her gut is also in her saliva. So the baby will get some of that and just get a little bit of mom's bacteria colony to then slowly start to develop its own bacteria colony. And in the wild, it kickstarts a lot quicker because they have those moths. The moths that are on the mom will also be on the baby. And when the baby grooms himself, they'll get more of that bacteria, and it's established a lot quicker. But in captivity, they don't have those moths. They still get just a little bit from mom, and it takes like 4 to 5 months for that really to be fully established. So that's why they rely on mom so much when they're in captivity. They have to stay with them for about 5 months until they get that, that bacteria colony fully established and are actually able to digest their food. And so then that sloth will keep that bacteria colony the rest of their lives in captivity, as long as temperature requirements are stable. And so that's why those wild sloths rely on the moths to be on them all the time, because that bacteria is really sensitive to temperature fluctuations, especially a drop in temperature. And in the rainforest, for the most part, it's pretty hot and humid, but occasionally, depending on what season it is or the time of year, or through the night, temperatures can drop. And if it drops below that point where the bacteria can thrive, that bacteria colony will be wiped out of the wild sloth. But it's not an issue for them because they have those moths. Now in captivity, we always keep it 78 degrees in this room because that's the temperature that bacteria thrives at the best. But if something were to happen, like we left a door crack to their outdoor enclosure overnight in this fall or winter, that could be really detrimental for them, because we could come back in the next morning, that bacteria colony would be completely wiped out from their gut because the temperature in their enclosure would be down, and they can't maintain their own body temperature. That takes too much energy. And so in an event,
probiotics for them or something?
Well, in an event like that, where all of the bacteria is wiped out, there's nothing you can do. They don't make any sort of a synthetic bacteria that replicates the same type of bacteria they use to digest their food. And so that's basically the end of that sloth. Which is why it's so important for people to have knowledge about sloths, especially
power outage or something like that.
Well, we have backup generators, and if worse comes to worse, we always can bring them up to the main house. There's actually Dash is staying at the main house right now in the owner's bedroom, and they always keep it 78 degrees in that bedroom.
That's awesome.
Well, I think it's 77 in there. But,
I'll stay there.
Yeah.
That's warm.
So they have
Give me
a
like
whole,
-2 degrees in the house.
they have a whole separate heating and air unit for their bedroom, so that they can keep the sloths in there.
I would imagine if they need antibiotics or something like that, that would be an issue as well.
Well, and that's why you have to have such an important relationship with your vet and a whole team, like a network of specialists that you have on hand to be able to communicate with them and figure out what the best thing is to do. Now, thankfully, sloths are generally very healthy animals unless they, get that bacteria wiped out from their gut. And so, there's not really any like major health issues that sloths run into like pigs. There's really specific diseases that pigs, if one pig gets it and there's other pigs around, they're all getting wiped out. There's not really anything like that for a sloth. But the thing that you can sometimes run into with issues with a sloth that's in captivity is an overgrowth of yeast. And that can happen in an event like a stressful event that the sloth goes through. That yeast can really overgrow in their system. Or if they eat too many fruits at once, that fructose can really kickstart that yeast, and it'll overgrow in their system. And so there's specific medicines that you have to put them on for an event like that, but those medicines are okay with that bacteria. So you really have to have a vet that knows all of that stuff in order to, own sloths. And that's why owning a sloth as a pet is a terrible idea, because there's not a whole lot of people that know that there's a correlation.
Vets like that in the area of Cleveland.
Yeah, well,
is there a vet like that?
There is. He's actually here today, the one that was looking at the camel.
Travel around or something?
Yeah. But then we also have, a whole network of specialists at UT that work with a lot of exotic animals like that, and people that, obviously they teach you in vet school about all the different types of animals that you can run into, and you can go into a specialty. But people that have specialized in sloths and zoo medicine, like up in New York and places like that, we have a good relationship with them as well, so that we can always have, constant communication and knowledge about what we need to have for sloths. And even the breeder that we got Dash and Zoe from, Zoe had, turn around and look at her. She was just scratching herself on her back. She's been very active today.
Oh yeah.
She just went to the bathroom last night, and after they go to the bathroom, they're like, you know, they lose about a third of their body weight, and so the next day they're like so exploratory, and she's been restless all day, just climbing around. Earlier she was hanging by her 2 back feet and extended all the way down and was like playing with the underside of her hammock. I don't know if you ever, usually she's a little diva. She was raised in the same way that Dash was, to be comfortable with being held by people. And so they're a lot different from like, you know, a sloth that had not had that same type of conditioning. And so for that reason, they spend a lot of times in a hammock. And his is a basket right now.
Yeah.
They don't climb as much, but she today has been climbing a lot. But this type of behavior for a sloth is not typical. Sloths are usually very solitary animals. They don't want to be around other sloths. They don't want to be around other people or other animals, and they definitely don't want to be around people. Now, all of the sloths that we have here have been born and raised in captivity. But if Dash did not have the same type of conditioning that that he had, and he was just raised around people, never really interacted with people like this, he would not be comfortable with being held. So if he went through rigorous conditioning from a very young age to get him to this point. Before he was even a week old, that breeder was already working with him for short amount of times a day while he was still on his mom, to get him comfortable with being held. And so then the first time that baby is ever held, is already used to being around people and people touching them and things like that. And the mothers are actually clicker trained in their program to know that when she hears that clicker sound, the breeder's going to come up and give her a treat and then borrow her baby for just like 10 or 15 seconds while still standing right next to mom, and then they give that baby right back to mom. And so mom's never stressed out because she has a treat and baby's never really taken from her. It's still right there. And then baby's never stressed out because mom's never stressed out. So it's always a positive interaction that the babies have with people, and they go through that whole ambassador program. By the time they're weaned from their mothers, around 5-6 months old, then that baby's used to being held for upwards to an hour a day at a time, and they kind of go from mom being their source of comfort to then humans being their source of comfort. And so, but naturally, sloths are not going to be just wanting to be held on to people like this.
How much does a baby sloth cost?
A lot, especially a sloth like this where it has went through, the conditioning that he had. And there's no reputable breeder in the United States that would sell one of their babies to a member of the general public. We had already had Flash, and when we started being interested in getting Zoe, we got Flash from a different breeder up north. Zoe we got from a more south area.
Flash from Zootopia.
Yep. And
they're all from Zootopia names.
When we were interested in getting Zoe, we went through like basically a whole interview with him. He wanted to know what we knew about sloths, why we wanted another sloth, how we were going to treat this sloth, what was going to be our routine, everything to make sure that we knew enough and understood enough to be able to have another sloth. And so it was really cool to see how much, so much time goes into these animals that he wants to make for darn sure that he is, giving these babies to a good home.
Yeah, they're not just going to die or something.
Exactly. And so unfortunately, to own a sloth, you don't have to own a sloth. Now multiple sloths, the same thing with multiple exotic animals, you have to have a license, but to own a sloth, you don't have to have any licenses. And that's really unfortunate because a lot of people see that and they find that out and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to buy a sloth. And you can buy a sloth off of the internet, but like I said, there's no reputable breeder of sloths in the United States that would sell one of their babies to a member of the general public. So almost all of those sloths have been taken from the rainforest in the illegal animal trade and have a life expectancy of about 2 weeks. So that bacteria that they rely on, like I was saying, to digest their food, and they've already established that, and they're using those moths to keep that relationship up and running. Even just the stress of taking that animal from the rainforest somewhere that they're native to and bringing them into captivity is enough to completely wipe out all of that bacteria, and that animal would pass away from starvation within about 2 weeks. Even if that animal is continuing to eat, they could pass with a full belly of food, just not able to digest any of it because they don't have the means to be able to do so. So it's really unfortunate, but that's why we try to get out as much information about sloths as we can. And we always have to preface things by saying that these animals are not pets. They are ambassador animals, and they serve to be education for the public.
My wife works for a company that owns veterinarians. They have maybe 200 or so veterinarians, and a bunch of them do exotic stuff. One of them actually is in Costa Rica, I think.
Oh yeah.
But he's been wanting a pet, and we're going by them. They're like, not that one, not that one, not that one. They're like, you know, the difficulty of like, this is not a good pet. And it's mostly like lizards and stuff we were looking at, and they're like, you're a dragon? Okay.
I want a sugar glider now.
Yeah. They were really good at educating us of like, this is probably gonna die if you buy this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never buy one of these guys if I could take care of them.
Yeah. There's a lot more that goes into it than a lot of people think. You wouldn't think that the temperature of their environment would have anything to do with how they digest their food.
I wouldn't either, yeah.
Really important for them.
Goodness me.
And for a sloth, since they're already really slow animals, they have to be. It's not because they choose to be. They're only eating the leaves of the, sarcopia trees that naturally grow in Central and South America.
I'm surprised they're not like going extinct.
Yeah.
Or like as sensitive as they are.
Yeah.
And then people, taking them and stuff like that too.
Exactly. And that's why the Conservancy Agency down there has been doing a really good job recently of cracking down and enforcing more rules and regulations against holding wild sloths, because a lot of times what happens is if you book an encounter down there in Costa Rica or Guatemala or Honduras or somewhere that they're native to, I think a lot of people think that if I go down there and have a sloth encounter there, I know that those animals have not been like taken and brought to the States. But almost all of those sloths have been taken from the rainforest, and they're just put back into the rainforest after every encounter, which is still very detrimental to them because, like I said, they have that whole ecosystem on their backs. And even just one or two pets down a wild sloth's back is enough to mess up that ecosystem to where the whole relationship they have with the moths is thrown off, and it's really hard for them to reestablish that, the ecosystem the way that it was before.
We were looking at Costa Rica this last year. We didn't get to go, but there was a place there,
Sloth sanctuary.
Yes, there's a sloth sanctuary, and there's a place N-A-Y-A something, like, and they have these big camp things, and it's in the sloth sanctuary area where you can stay.
Yeah.
It looked really cool.
They don't let you pet in this place.
No, it's
And
more
see,
it's more like sighting. Like, oh look, there's a sloth in the tree.
And see, the ones like that are good. Like, if you're not handling them at all, you're not disrupting them. Now, if you were to go on a tour where they say like 100% guaranteed to see sloths, all of those sloths have been, some of them have been taken and put in a specific spot so that they know that they're going to be able to see them, because sloths are pretty difficult to find in the rainforest. They look like little furry coconuts in the very tops of the trees. A favorite position of them is to be holding onto that branch and be up as close to that branch as they can as possible with their head in between their front legs, and so it's really hard to see them. So a lot of times people will take them and put them in a specific spot so that they can guarantee people are going to see them. But the sanctuaries like that, where the sloths have been like injured and they've been taken from the rainforest because they can't live otherwise in the rainforest, places like that have like, just observation sanctuaries are great. Unfortunately, the Conservancy Agency has also had to shut some of those down as well, just because, if you're enforcing rules and regulations for some, you have to do it for all. But it has really helped on, decreasing the amounts of, handling the wild sloths like that. But for a lot of people, the natives down there, it's just a way of life for them. That's how their dad did it, that's how their grandfather did it. And, I say did it, I haven't even explained what they did. But a lot of times people will go out and they'll take a sloth from the rainforest and bring it out as a cruise ship. It will board and people will get off of that. Because, people are just looking for excursions and things to do, and somebody has a sloth all of a sudden and putting it in their face like, give me $5 and you can hold it. But those sloths have been taken from the rainforest, dunked in a bucket of bleach, scrub off all of that moss and algae off of their backs, get rid of all of those moths because that's gross, pull their teeth, and then put them in a roadside petting zoo. Those sloths have a life expectancy of about a week. So. And a lot of people obviously are not aware of that, because if they were, they wouldn't be supporting something like that. But they don't present it as, something evil. They present it like it's my pet, or, the mother was injured, and so I had to take the baby.
Like a monkey or something.
Yeah, it happens with a lot more animals than a lot of people realize.
What do sloths typically eat?
In the wild, they eat about 95% leaf material. and the leaves are the leaves of the sarcopia trees that naturally grow down there. So those trees that are painted across the ceiling here, and those trees go way high up, over 100 feet up in the air.
Cool.
But
What do
they'll
you
also,
feed them here?
here, they eat, obviously we're not gonna be able to do 95% leaf material because we don't have the sarcopia leaves have specific nutrients in them that we're not gonna be able to replicate with any leaves here. So we do have to supplement them with different other forms of veggies, but it's about 75% leaf material. And then the rest are squash, zucchini, corn, sweet potatoes, things like that to supplement in between where they're lacking from the leafy greens. But they also eat a small variety of bugs and insects that are on the leaves that they're eating as well as on themselves. Now in captivity, obviously, some bigger breeders will opt to get bugs shipped in like that to put on their food. We don't. Some bigger breeders also will feed them pinkies, so the little pink mice that have not grown hair yet. Because they would, if a sloth were to come across in the wild a small bird's nest with very young eggs or very young baby birds, they eat those too. So they do
I'm an omnivore then.
Yeah, they do have to meet their protein requirements somehow. But we ought to.
So they have sharp teeth?
They do. They don't have any teeth in the very front, but the first teeth that you come to are actually on the sides. They're 4 really sharp canines.
Okay.
And then in the back, all of their molars are actually all pointed. And they grind together just right to be able to grind up the leaves that they're eating instead of chomping them up like we would.
First, they're their own species and stuff.
Do what?
First, they're like their own species, own type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's no other animal really similar to a sloth. Now they are part of a superorder called Zethorans. And Zethoran means a mammal with a hinged spine. And so 2 other animals that are part of that superorder are anteaters and armadillos. So you wouldn't think it, but he has a total of 46 ribs. That's 2 sets of 23, so it's double what we have. And those ribs, it's 2 sets, so they have the ability, especially with the 3 extra vertebrae in their lumbar spine, to curve that spine all the way and fold into a complete ball.
Wow.
And they can actually fold it like all the way in half too. And sometimes, Zoe's curled up right now, but sometimes when she's sleeping, she like folds her spine all the way over.
Yeah.
And she'll be peering over the side of the hammock.
Are you full-time here, or do you go to school too, or?
I'm full-time right now, yeah, but my end goal is to be a veterinarian, so I have my bachelor's degree in animal science, and I had a lot of large animal and small animal experience, but not a whole lot with exotics, and so the last time that I applied to vet school, I didn't get in. I got an interview with UT, so that really helped me to know what that process would look like, but I'll submit my application. Is today the 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah, so next month, in September.
That should give you some good experience to hopefully
Yeah.
boost the resume.
Yeah, not a whole lot of people will have the title of sloth keeper on their application.
No,
So,
not at all.
yeah, I'm hoping that
I saw, because my wife does what she does, I'm in family medicine, and we were looking at for these guys. I was like, at one point, he was like, oh, that sounds fun. One of her veterinarians went to school, I forget, it's in Jamaica or Caribbean. There's a vet school there. Have you seen it? It's on the ocean.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't I do that in my life?
Yeah.
It looks amazing. It's like, that's where I want to go to school. Right on the ocean. Thank you, please.
Yeah.
I think it was the Caribbean, maybe.
Yeah.
I forget where it's at. It looks amazing.
Yeah. I'm really wanting to get into UT because that's where I did my undergraduate, the last 2 years of my
It's a
undergrad.
good school.
And it's, close by. So I commuted for all of my undergrad.
Okay.
And I've only been here, working here for 3 months, but I actually just got engaged to the owner's son. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I'll still be local around here.
Yeah. Are you from here?
Yeah, about 45 minutes in Madisonville.
I don't know where's that.
Sweetwater?
North? Oh, Sweetwater, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
it's
Sweetwater.
right next to Sweetwater.
Yeah. It's all close to UT.
Yeah.
In the area.
I'm hoping for UT, but I'm also going to apply to Auburn, probably UGA, and then LMU. But LMU's private, and so paying for LMU is basically like paying out of state tuition.
I get a lot of students that come through our practice from LMU and family medicine.
Yeah.
They just pump people out of that program.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've got I don't know about that, but I know mine, they got Harrogate, and then they've got UT, they've got, I think they're opening another one.
Really?
They've got like 3 or 4 of them going on, and there's just, man, they are making some money.
The vet school, well, there's that side of it too, and then the vet school, it took them a while to actually get accredited. And so there's been like some mixed emotions with LMU, but I'll still apply, because this will be my 2nd year. And it's like, if I don't get in anywhere else and I get into LMU, like, I want to get the ball rolling, so I'll probably just end up going there, but.
It's been a long time since I went through school, but when I applied, I don't know how vets are, it was like a system where it was like a fee, and then you get to apply to multiple schools at once, is how it is for vets.
Well, but you have to pay for each individual school that you apply to. So I was on the site last night, and I did LMU, UT, UGA, and Auburn, and it's like $700.
So it's each one, you don't get a discount like as you go, See, when I did it, it was like grouped, and it was, for the first like 5, it was X, and if you add another, it was, and so there was a cheaper amount to add more schools.
I wish.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll get in.
Yeah, I hope so.
Where are they here? I don't see the ears.
They do have little ears. If you remind me whenever I go to get them here in a minute, I'll show you. But if I get down right now and try to show you, he will try to be climbing onto me. They're on both sides of their head. They're just covered up by some hair.
They're right here.
Yeah. They're fully formed little ears. They kind of look like ours. They're not just holes in the sides of their head. A lot of people think that. Pretty cute to see.
He doesn't have any sheds, really.
Nope. They're kind of considered to be hypoallergenic animals because they don't really have any natural shed to them. They don't have any dander or anything like that. And like I said, they don't have any natural scent glands, musk glands, odor, anything like that to them. So they're really clean animals.
Yeah, he's been petting forever, and I'm like, there's no hair on him.
Yeah. And then their hair, when they're first born, he's pretty dark, and you can kind of see Zoe. She's pretty light in color, and she's almost 2 years old. And when they're first born, the darkest color that he is on the top of his head is what color he was all over. Their hair is a lot shorter when they're first born, and as they get older, it'll slowly continue to grow. And it'll grow out into the adult fur that's a lot lighter.
I thought she looked brownish.
She does,
Yeah.
you can see her legs, but her whole backside is a really light cream color.
Yeah.
How do you look at that?
Now he saw me move. Follow her backwards and look at me.
There you go. His claws are dug into me.
Yeah.
They should say they won't fall. You can really not hold
Just
on.
support on this backside there, just to make sure that he's not going to lean back.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, buddy?
Not him. It's like a stew in the forest.
He would. And you can see how tiny pinpoint those little black pupils are. They do have a really narrow field of vision. So it's essentially like if you were to cup your hands like this together and look through it, that's about all they see. They don't really have any peripheral vision. And so that's why for a sloth, a lot more things can be pretty startling for them, especially because they can't even see it coming.
I just saw the canines. Hey, look.
Yeah, they're really impressive. And a wild sloth would definitely use those. If you tried to get a wild sloth and bring it out of a tree, And that's why a lot of the exhibits that have thankfully been shut down in recent months, it has been just, I think it's been within the past few months, but the places that would allow you to handle those sloths that had been taken from the rainforest would have you hold them the opposite way. So they would have you hold them around their, underneath their armpits, facing the opposite way, because they would be trying to bite the whole time.
I would think it's how they can contort their back and stuff. It wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, well, the three-toed sloth, they definitely, and I watched a video just yesterday too of somebody holding it like that, and it was a three-toed sloth, and the sloth can turn their neck all the way back, and so she turned it all the way back and was reaching for that lady's arm. The video ended, but.
I just want to take him home, but I can't.
Somebody said the other day that we should offer sloth naps and just get a little lazy boy and put it in here and have where you can just take a nap with a sloth.
There you go.
Because they feel like there's a little, like one of those rice packs you can put in the microwave and set on you. That's kind of what they feel like, just a little weighted rice pack or blanket or something.
Fuzzy and cute.
Yeah. And they can make some noises. A lot of people have never heard a sloth make a noise, but the females actually, when they become in heat, they let out a really loud screech sound. that sounds like a D sharp if you're into music, so it's really high pitched.
Hmm.
And they'll periodically let that out, and it'll alert all the males in the area that she is ready to be bred. So they'll all slowly make their way to her, and it'll just be the lucky,
Slowly.
the first one that gets there will be the lucky winner. Everybody else,
Fastest one.
yeah, everybody else that shows up late just turns around and goes back. They don't really fight for mates like other animals do.
Like,
But they
oh, they're just so chill.
If they're startled by something, they can also make a hiss noise, which I heard the other day. Flash was out on this branch, and Zoe, I was doing an encounter with Zoe, and I had just put Zoe onto somebody's lap and went to stand back up, and Flash had extended all the way down, just holding by his two back feet, and he was reaching down to see if I had any food. And when I went to stand back up, I knocked into him, and in my ear I heard, I was like, oh, sorry, buddy. But they can make a hiss noise like that, and then the more so babies, but Zoe still does it. If they're distressed, like if he's in that basket and I'm not picking him up and he's like reaching out for me and I'm like doing something else trying to finish it up, they can go meh, meh. They'll make little noises like cries like that. Zoe will occasionally do it if I have an encounter with her and I go to set her back in her hammock. And if I stand in her enclosure for very much longer after that, she'll start to climb back through the branches at me, reaching out and going, making that noise. So,
There's a third one too, right?
yeah, Flash, Dash, and Zoe.
Flash, Dash, and Zoe.
Dash. I kept hearing Dash and Flash. I was like, is there Dash too?
Flash, Dash, Zoe, and our next one that we get should be next month. We'll get Chloe.
Are you breeding them?
We don't have any plans to right now, but if in the future we ever wanted to, we could. Dash and Zoe came from the same facility but have completely different bloodlines. So he tracks those sloths all the way back from when he first started, and they are completely unrelated. So we could, but we don't have any plans to right now for definite. But our time is up, so I'll go ahead and get in front of you. There's some more people out there
That felt so quick. They climb.
And this is when we first get them, they're so small that they can't even wrap their legs around our torso like that, so we have to carry them like this, like little footballs.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that fun?
Come out here and we'll sanitize our hands one more time.
Oh, so fun. It's so cute. I see.
You guys don't care just with hand sanitizer before one more time. John showed you or not, but we do have a little QR code that you can scan and it takes you to do a food review like we do. It just helps us know what you like and what you like and things that you guys want. We do take you out. Keep going in.
I can't go in.
Whoever wants to hold first can sit in the blue chair.
Do they always sit in their baskets like that?
For the most part, that's where they're most comfortable. We do let them out to go potty and things like that and just hop around and have fun, but as soon as they see that bag, that's where they want to go back to.
Okay,
That's where they're
what
wanting
did
to
you
go.
say? I'm sorry, I was totally.
You guys can have seats, and whoever wants to hold first can sit in the blue chair.
Okay.
How'd you know?
No, because I just know you.
Are you able to take off that
Yeah.
necklace? That
All of them?
the one up tight you can probably leave, but the one that hangs down, if you'll take that
Yeah.
one off. Because if he gets a claw in there, they have locking mechanisms that works like this. That is how they're able to hold on to the branches for so long. And if they get a hold of a necklace, it's kind of hard for them.
You
to
might
let
not
go.
have a necklace. May give it to us as well.
That's okay, you can have it.
All right.
Oh, forgot, you don't like my camera.
So he won't hold on to you like this. He's going to wrap around your torso, and then you can support him underneath his booty. Now we do have to keep in mind that they are prey animals, and so we have to keep that in mind when we're petting them. So they do have also really poor eyesight, so we try to just stay down the middle of their backs like this. We don't want to go the opposite way. Goodness gracious. Or do the cat scratches with your fingertips. They don't really like that either. So just a nice open hand like this, really slow down the middle of his back. The legs are really sensitive. So if you think about for them, they're on the underside of the branch, and a jaguar or an ocelot would be on the top side of that branch. The first thing they're gonna grab is a leg. So for that reason, the legs are really sensitive. So we try to just stay down the middle of their backs. So he's gonna wrap his back legs around your torso, and then you can support underneath his booty.
Okay.
Good boy.
And then if you scoot your booty to the edge of the chair and just slouch back as much as you can, it's a lot more comfortable for him.
Oh.
And then I've gotta sit up here and sit really still, because if I don't, and I stand up and move around, he's very ADHD and he likes to watch me wherever I go.
Oh, he's silly.
So just do one hand down the
Okay.
middle of his back and have the other one either underneath his booty or to the side. Cause their sides are also really sensitive, so when we pet with both hands, we're kinda getting the sides there, and it can be a little bit overstimulating for him.
Oh.
Nice little hugs. So Dash is a two-toed sloth. They have 2 toes on the front feet and then 3 toes on the back. All sloths have 3 toes on their back feet.
Oh, he's so cute.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Macon, Georgia, and she's from Leeds, Alabama.
Okay. Where'd you hear about us?
I was looking through to do stuff because it was her birthday, and this popped up, and
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, you want to go?"
Did you get off the picture thing?
I think I did.
You're just swiping now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, actually, I was trying to send it to your mother, but that's okay.
On my phone?
Yeah. Well, it didn't work, so I'm just gonna take a picture with my phone.
Did you get
I
some
know
on my
how to
phone at
work.
least?
You're doing it wrong.
I have dogs.
It was so funny. The kangaroo that she got, his name Max,
Uh-huh.
and Max is a boxer,
Oh.
her boxer,
Yeah.
that he's brown. I said,
Mhm.
"Wow, he just came up to you. He thought he was yours." Sorry, I got off of it. I don't know
Just
how.
swipe to the side.
Do you know how to work?
Yeah, I have iPhones.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you. There you go.
He's like,
Ooh, what's going on?
I see who. I think
He has a really bad case of FOMO.
He's so real. I think he'd be a good cuddle buddy.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said the other day that we should offer a sloth naps and get a lazy boy in here and have
Oh,
him be
yeah.
able to take a nap with him.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. And it feels pretty good in here today because it's so hot and humid outside. But in the winter, it's really warm in here because it stays 78 degrees in here constantly. But outside right now, it's like 90, so it feels good. But for them, they have very specific temperature requirements. They have a really special type of bacteria that they use to digest their food. And that bacteria is really sensitive to temperature changes, especially a drop in temperature. And so if it drops much below like 75 degrees, that bacteria can be wiped out, and then that sloth would not have a way to digest its food.
Oh, wow.
And so for a wild sloth, they have a symbiotic relationship with moths that live all throughout their backs, on their backs throughout their fur. And they rely on those moths to give them that bacteria. So those moths produce that bacteria in their waste. So when the sloth licks that up, they have it replenished all the time. And so in the rainforest, when temperatures is constantly fluctuating, depending on what time of year it is. Just one second.
Oh, what is that? He's like, where is she going?
I'm too tired for that.
Let me just do this.
So leaf blower outside, but I think they were like blowing into the enclosure.
Here she is.
Ready to like support him?
Yeah, just support on this back there.
Okay.
One hand. One hand.
There was one hand. She's gonna be right back, I promise. I want a pet sloth.
Well, I guess you need to work at one of these
What are you
places.
doing? Oh, okay, don't. Okay, he's scoping in.
He's looking for her. He's like, where's my buddy? There she is.
So he doesn't sleep in here. Does he sleep at home?
So he actually stays at the main house right now. So until they're a year old, they stay up at the main house because they, baby sloths, they require a lot more attention, and through the night they have to have feedings and stuff like that.
Oh, like a baby.
Yeah. But once he turns a year old, so in another month or so, he will be coming down here more full time.
Yeah, we saw one hanging when we were here earlier.
Yes, yeah, that was Flash. So he does his encounters out here on this branch, but his enclosure is actually back there. But he has a routine where every morning around 9:30 when we start chopping up his veggies, he knows his breakfast is coming, and so he'll meet us at the door. And when we open up that door, he hooks onto the door frame and comes out onto this branch to have his breakfast.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Would you like it too?
I can wait. I don't know how long we have though.
You have 20 minutes total, so it's been about half of the time. I know we started just a few minutes late, so have it just a few more minutes and it'd be about half the time. So whenever you guys want to switch
Well, she
over.
can take some of my time.
Okay. We'll probably end like 3 after 12.
Okay.
That was about
Is
when
it
we
12?
started. Or 1.
Okay, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, are y'all ahead or are y'all with Georgia time or what is is this Tennessee? I don't
Yeah.
even know
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah, it's Tennessee. We're right on the Georgia state line. So yeah, the time zone ends over towards Middle Tennessee. So we're in East Tennessee. But I'm not sure if the time changes down south Georgia. I don't think so.
Okay,
It's
so
in Eastern time.
okay, so y'all are on the same time as we are.
What
I
part
know.
were you from?
Macon.
Yeah, so yeah, we're in the same time.
Okay, but I know parts of Tennessee
And yeah, in East Central and West Tennessee.
are
it
go
starts to
what backwards one, right?
an hour
They're-
behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like Alabama.
Mhm.
I don't understand all that. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Just one time, okay? Just
Apparently they are thinking about trying to pass a law or make a law, not really a law, but change the time where the daylight savings. They're trying to like do away with daylight savings or something like that.
well, I never understood it anyway.
I don't either.
I mean,
I wish that it would be the sun would always set at like 9 o'clock.
yeah.
And
I mean,
that would
that's
just
where
be-
it does at our house.
Yeah.
Just let it set at 9
Yeah.
o'clock. Because, well, you can't really change the seasons because when it does get to the
Yeah.
fall, the
It has
days
to-
get shorter.
I think it has to do something with the crops for like farmers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Originally, daylight savings was supposed to be able to help the farmers like get more work done in the evenings or something like that. But I don't know. All I know is that I like it when the sun sets late, not at like 6 o'clock.
Oh,
That
yeah.
drives me crazy.
And
I
you're
get
like-
seasonal depression.
It's like time, okay, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Look at the clock, it's only 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that sun starts going down, I'm like,
Yeah.
which it will be doing that soon.
What does he eat?
So in the wild, sloths eat about 95% leaf material, and those leaves for the sloth in the wild are the leaves of the sarcopia trees. And those don't naturally grow here. So the two-toed sloths can have their diets vary to where they eat baby spinach, romaine lettuce, spring mix, stuff like that. But then we also supplement with like sweet potatoes, zucchini, squash, corn, different types of fruits and things like that to just fill in the gaps in between because baby spinach is not going to have the same nutrients as the sarcopia leaves will.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have to have protein requirements as well, and so twice a week they get a boiled egg, and that is all the protein that they need. For our baby sloths, Dash is still on a mixture of brown rice, shaved up sweet potatoes, and a really high quality dog food that's been soaked in water. So this year I'll mush that up and then mix it into the brown rice and the sweet potatoes, and that's what they get until they're like 2 years old.
Wow. So why do they, is it just their nature, why they move so slow?
Well, because they only eat leaf material, leaves are very low in caloric content, and it takes calories in order to create energy. And so they don't really have the means to be able to be fast or be moving around a whole lot. They can really only move really slow. And if a sloth is not actively eating or sleeping, they're just hanging there resting and digesting their food because that's all they can do. They don't have enough energy built up in their body to be able to be moving around really fast or anything like that. So that's why they're so
Smells
slow.
They smelling.
Yeah.
Is that my food?
Since sloths have such poor eyesight, their sense of smell and sense of hearing is actually really heightened. And so because of that, you know, if just something as simple as somebody opening up that door and closing it really quick can be enough to startle them.
Me too.
Oh, yes.
Sloths are very similar.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying. Oh, me and the sloth are similar. She does.
I don't like loud sounds.
But she can get loud.
I can get loud. I'm not
You
loud.
can get loud. Yes, you can.
I
Okay,
kind of
try
try
it out.
out now.
Let
Okay,
me try it. Can I try it?
You want to host out just a little bit?
Maybe. Oh, there's your arm.
That's so cute. You want me to use your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you ain't sent me the pictures of the other
You
stuff.
haven't sent me the pictures yet. You get
Sit
pictures
around
when
moving
I
around
get
in the
pictures.
day.
Does the kangaroo ever get out? Just like
Oh,
in
do
here?
I need to move
Wait.
that?
It's tight enough, it would be fine, just whatever you want to do.
I'll just move my hair out of the
Yeah.
way. We rode the horses. Yeah, Cedar did not want to ride. He was,
Oh, really?
yeah, he was like, mm-mm.
That's funny.
What was the one I was riding then, Kiki?
Oh.
Go ahead. And just support underneath his booty. There we go.
I forgot.
Was it the brown and white one?
Mm-mm. What am I saying? What was it? Trixie? No.
Trip.
Trip.
Trips.
Ah, see, I had it.
Mhm.
So
Hi,
close.
Daddy. It's a boy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hi. Hi, Dash. He's looking at you. Are you gonna fall off?
Just as long as you have one hand behind his back, it'll be okay.
Oh, you liked her.
Teehee.
He's just looking. Now,
I love sloths.
getting mouthy, I think he's starting to get kind of hungry.
You're getting hungry. We
Only
just
if-
ate. He might smell like food on us. We just ate.
Oh, yeah?
What you gonna poop on me?
They only poop about once a week, and he went
Wow.
like 3 days ago, so he is probably not ready to
They
go.
only
Yes,
poop
he's ready
once
to
a
eat.
week.
Here, bud.
Are you able to hold that with one hand?
Yeah. You wanna eat.
And that's that brown rice mixture I was talking about.
You're getting hungry, huh?
He does, he gets hangry. He's
Uh-oh.
hungry.
I know some people that do that.
Yeah, you.
Well, yeah, sometimes I do when my blood sugar drops.
Okay, your phone's always.
My truth tends to come really out that when I get, my blood sugar starts,
Yeah.
they don't like
Do
it.
the kangaroo and the sloth get along? Or like, do they?
They don't ever interact.
That's okay.
The sloths are always up in the tops of the trees. But the kangaroos are pretty good supervisors. They always watch our encounters.
That's cool. But what happened to the other ones?
He's behind it, isn't he?
No, I think they've got her in the other kitchen.
Oh, okay.
You guys have any other encounters after this?
This was our last one.
Yeah.
He invited us to come back, but I don't know, for
What
the,
was-
tour thing.
Oh, the farm tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. The farm tour is always a really good option. It's you get to see all of the animals on the farm, at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you interact with all of them. It's not like a zoo where you just get to see them. You actually get to hold them and pet them and feed them and pick them up and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, I don't have enough attention span to listen, so I just keep talking.
Yeah.
I don't mean that mean or
Yeah.
anything, but like, I just
No,
can't,
I
I really
understand.
can't.
Yeah.
No, she can't, because her mind was everywhere out there when he was discussing
Yes.
the kangaroos, and I was like, she ain't hearing a word he said.
Yeah.
I know they have 2 uteruses and they stay pregnant or
So,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I
you
saw
did
it.
hear that.
And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, he has a routine that he sticks to of what he wants to tell everybody, and he says it so many times over and over that it just gets really routine. When you have 2 or 3 encounters, the same encounters every day does.
Yeah.
Be the same things, and I do too. I talk about the same things too, just in different orders.
Yeah. Is that good? Let's do good.
Pretty soon we're going, well, if we live in the city, you can't have animals.
Wait, what?
Live in the city, you can't have animals like this.
That's silly.
All my life I wanted to be out in the country.
Yeah. Are you moving to the city?
No, we're in the city, well, we're on the outskirts of the city, but in
Yeah.
a neighborhood, so.
Yeah.
Can't have small.
I mean, when I was growing up, we lived
Okay.
in the country. We
Okay.
had camels and land and all that.
Yeah.
And I always said, I want a big, no, not a huge white house, but a big white house.
Yeah.
With horses.
Trees encircling it
Yes.
and flat land.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's what I want, where I can have some horses and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Want some more? Did you get full?
Yeah.
Did you get full? Didn't get full. Oh.
Is this what you want Midnight to do?
Yeah, I inherited a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
found
can
it
see
in
the
a
battle
tire.
scars all
Oh,
over
my.
me.
Yeah.
So
You want to say cheese?
she's
Say
and
Sloth.
oh. So no, they're not aggressive. They don't try and bite you.
Now, typically, the behavior that Dash is showing is not typical of sloths. Dash was born and raised in captivity, and that doesn't guarantee that he's going to be a friendly sloth. Now, Dash had a lot of conditioning from a very young age where he was interacting with people every day for just short amount of times that got him to this point. Now, a wild sloth, if you try to have a similar experience as this with a wild sloth, it would essentially be the difference between holding a house cat and a feral cat. It would go quite different for you. They
Yeah.
do have sharp teeth in the back of their mouths, and they can use them if they feel threatened. And so Dash obviously does not see us as a threat. He's been born and raised around people and been held his entire life, so he is comfortable with this. But if you were to try to have a similar experience with a sloth that has not ever been held, like Flash, he was born and raised in captivity, but we have never held him because he has never been held. And so if we ever try to pick him up and have, an encounter like that with him, it would go completely different and not the way that we would want it to. So if he ever climbs onto any of us, that will be completely his decision. But if the sloth does not have from a young age that really early conditioning where every day they're handled for just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more to work them up to being held, they're not going to be comfortable with being held. And so a lot of people think of sloths as really gentle, calm, docile animals, and they are as long as they're left alone. But as soon as you try to interact with one in a way that they have never been interacted with before, it's going to go quite differently for you.
How, what's the word, flexible are they? Because every time I've been watching him, his neck can go all the way, almost
Yeah.
360.
His neck can go back like that, but the three-toed sloths actually have 3 extra vertebrae in their cervical spine that allows them to rotate their neck 180 degrees
Wow.
backwards. Now, he can't do that because he's not a three-toed sloth. He can bend his neck back to look back behind him, but can't rotate it like that. But he makes up for that 3 extra vertebrae in his lumbar spine. So he can twist his spine all the way back. So I can go about halfway, but he can go 180 degrees back behind him with it, which is really beneficial for them because if they're on a branch and there's a branch below them that they want to eat those leaves, instead of having to go all the way back to the base of that tree, go down and back out that branch, they can just reach down and reach those branches and then twist their spine all the way back to reach another branch that's behind them that they can't reach. So it's really cool and beneficial for them.
It is, yeah.
It takes a lot more energy to have to move all the way down like that rather than just reach.
their lifespan like?
In the wild, we're not exactly sure. There has not been one scientist that has been able to track a single sloth from birth until geriatrics, because they're really difficult to track. Their necks are the same size as their heads, and so they get tracking collars off pretty easily. For a captive sloth that was born and raised in captivity, the oldest sloth that we know of lived to be 54 years old.
Wow.
So given the right diet, everything is balanced, the nutrition requirements are met, they can live a long life. It's not typical that they reach that point. It's a little extraordinary, but usually they live around 30 years in captivity. We expect it to be about 15 to 20-ish in the wild, just due to predation and natural things that happen to them.
Yeah. That's neat.
I know it went by fast, but our team is up. So I'll go ahead and get in front of you.
He said, okay. You must be the one he hangs to all the time.
They're very routine animals, and so he has kind of, sorry, he makes a mess sometimes when he eats.
That's okay. I do
they're-
too.
They like to stick to a schedule, and so he has kind of a little internal clock that he knows when he's been holding on to somebody for about 20 minutes, and I get down off that counter, it's about time to switch over.
He's got like 2
Um,
days.
And
It's
so,
time.
so he knows that every time if I reach one hand down like that he's gonna be transferred over, so he just knows to grab onto me. But he would do the same thing if somebody else did the exact same, motion, because since they do have such poor eyesight, he can't distinguish the difference between me or you by looking at us. But he hears me talking, and so he knows who I am by that. Alrighty.
Look at him. Kangaroo rubbing his face.
If you guys are ready, we'll come out here and we're gonna sanitize our hands one more time.
Like kangaroo.
But I hope you